Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another lesson. We're going to be looking at learning HTML forms today, and we'll be doing that by building a registration form. And this is again based off of FreeCodeCamp's responsive web design course. And in the past lessons we've learned about HTML, some basic CSS, some CSS colors, and now we're looking at learning HTML forms. And we'll be doing that by building a registration form. If any of this is sounding new to you, then I do suggest that you at least come back to this after you've seen or done the first few lessons on FreeCodeCamp, or you could just dive in with us anyways and just kind of listen along, and that works too. So we can use HTML forms to collect information from people who visit our site. In this course, we're going to learn HTML forms by building a sign-up page. And we're going to learn how to control what types of data people are going to type into the form, and some new CSS tools for styling your page. So let's go ahead and start this. So this is what a preview of what we're going to build, and we do see registration form. Please fill out the form with the required information. It does look like it has some styling, this background black, and even this color. I'm not sure if this is full on white. Let me increase my brightness. Yeah, whatever it is, we're going to build this. So even got to link using some HTML. So let's start coding. So we're going to start now with step 1 in the Learn HTML Forms is welcome to the registration form project. Start by adding the doctype HTML declaration at the top of the document so the browser knows what type of document it's reading. So again, we're in our index.html file. This could represent something you create on your desktop, a folder, called my website. And then in that folder, we have index.html. And the step 1, it's not in that file, obviously. It's a blank file with the first line needing the declaration. So here it is. Okay, let's run that. We pass. So the beginning of any HTML document needs this doctype declaration. Let's submit and go to the next challenge. Step 2, below the doctype, add an HTML element with a lang attribute set to en so that you have a place to start putting some code. So now that the browser knows, hey, this is an HTML document, let's open up an HTML element and close it. And all our code will live within our HTML. So check your code. Something didn't pass, so I'm already screwing up. Oh, I forgot the lang attributes. So lang is equal to en. That's all right. Yep. Okay, that's good. So we could continue. Next, add opening and closing head and body tags within the HTML element. So in step 3, we're going to line 3, and we're inside of our HTML, and we have head, and we close our head. We have our body, and we close our body. We run it, we pass, and ask me later. Oh no, settings. Boom. So step 4, add a title and a meta element to the head. Give your project a title of registration form and give a charset attribute with a value of UTF-8 to your meta element. So we're in our head. We want a title and a meta tag in there. So title first. And what do I do? Give your project registration form. Oh wait, and the meta element. We need the meta element. I forget if meta elements are self-closing. I believe they are. We'll see right now. Give your project a title of registration form. So title. Registration form. And give a charset attribute with a value of UTF-8 to the meta. So here's our meta. We're going to give it an attribute of charset. And the value we're going to give that is UTF-8. Let's run it. We pass. Step 5. Nest a self-closing link element within the head element. Give it a rel attribute with the value of style sheet and an href attribute with a value of styles.css. So nest a self-closing link element within the head element. So here's our head. Nest a self-closing link element within the head. So within the head, we're giving it a link. And the link is going to have a rel attribute. So this link is a style sheet. And then an href, so we're linking to the file called styles.css. So now we can create styles.css outside of index and link to any styles we have in there. So we check it, we pass. So step 6, within the body, provide a heading context for the content by adding an H1 with the text registration form. So here in the body, H1. Registration form, check it, we do pass, continue. Step 7, below the heading, use the following text within a paragraph element to encourage users to register. So under the H1, we're doing a paragraph. Copy this, paste it, and then in that paragraph, check it, we pass. Let's go to the next one. Step 8. The VH unit stands for viewport height and is relative to 1% of the height of the viewport. To spruce the project up, let us add some CSS. Begin by giving the body a width of 100% and a height of 100 view height. Okay, so now we're in styles.css. That's the file that we link to inside of our index, right? We said, hey, look for a file called styles.css and let us have access to it through this link. And so we are now in styles.css for this step, line 1 of styles.css. And as we learned in previous lessons, we're selecting the body because we're giving the body a width of 100. So here we would type body to select the body element, opening, closing curly braces. And within the body, we're going to do width 100%, height 100 view height. So now the body is given the width and height that we added here. Check it, we pass. Step 9. Now get rid of the horizontal scroll bar by setting the body default margin added by some browsers to 0. Wait, what? Now get rid of the horizontal scroll bar by setting the body default margin added by some browsers to 0. Let's see if I know what they're saying. So default margin to 0. Yeah, I guess so. They worded this one very strangely. We're getting rid of the horizontal scroll bar, which was here on the side, by setting the body default margin. Oh, added by, it just said, it should just say default margin to 0, parentheses added by some browsers. That'd be a little bit clearer. But either way, we got it. Next one, step 10. That is better. Now, make the background easy on the eyes by changing the body background color to this hex that they're giving us. So let's copy that hex code. Then to see the next change, then to see the text, change the color to this other color. So first, let's go, we're still in the body. So we're going to change the body background color to that hex we copied. Okay. And the text color, we're going to change it to, and then that hex, F5, F6, F7. Dope. Okay. Check it. We pass. Continue. So, as suggested by the title, so we're step 11, says, as suggested by the title, you are creating a form. So after the P element, insert a form with an action attribute targeting that link. So let's go under our paragraph, and we're adding a form. Okay, after the P, insert a form with an action attribute targeting. So we're going to give it an action attribute. So in our form, we're going to give it the action attribute, and we're linking to this here. Okay, we pass. Let us see what's next. As the form will have 3 distinct sections, add 3 field set elements within the form element. So the form will have 3 distinct sections, add 3 field set elements within the form. So in here, we're going to do field set. Okay. We're going to do 3 of those, so let's copy that. 2 and 3. Let's check, and we do pass that. Step 13 is telling us the first field set will hold name, email, and password fields. Start by adding 4 label elements to the first field set. So the first field set, they dropped it down on the opening and closing tag. That's okay. We're inside of it now. So in it, we're gonna add 4 label elements. And let me copy that. And it says 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's run this. and we do pass. Let's continue. 14. Add the following text to the label elements. So enter your first name. We'll go into the first label. So the first label's here. We're going to enter within it. Enter your first name. And then the second label, enter your last name. Then enter your email. And finally create a new password. All right, let's check it. We passed, and don't worry, this will all look better in a bit. Step 15, the rem unit stands for a root EM and is relative to the font size of the HTML element. As label elements are inline by default, they are all displayed side by side on the same line, making their text hard to read. To make them appear on separate lines, add display block to the label element and add a margin of 0.5 rem 0 to separate them from each other. What does that mean? Okay, as label elements are inline, to make them appear separate lines, add. So right now I'm under the body. So I gotta grab a label element, and they want me to display block. So okay, we're fixing what I just said. We want this to be displayed as block level elements. Right now they're appearing as inline. So we're going to change that by selecting the labels and then display block. Cool. And to the label element and add a margin. Okay, so then margin. And it'll be 0.5 rem and then 0. Okay, and if you guys don't remember, the 0.5 targets, I think, top and bottom, and 0 would be left and right. Or it might be backwards, but I'm pretty sure it's the first one. Just stuff that you can easily Google. Check it. Congratulations, code pass. Submit your code to continue. Step 16. Nest an input element within each label. Be sure to add each input after the label text and include a space after the colon. I don't know what that means, but let's piece it apart. Within each label, so within each label, this is the inside of the label. I want to nest an input element within each label. Okay. Be sure to add each input after the label text. Okay, there's the label text. And include a space after the colon. A space after the colon, so that's the colon, space, then input. And our input's self-closing, I'm not sure. Let's just do that kind for now. Within each label, be sure to add. Alright, so let me just copy this. My birds are making all sorts of noises over here. Okay. Label into your here, space, that, and then here, space, paste, and then here, space, paste. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it worked. So we added that input tag within each label, and we do see those here. Go to the next one. Following accessibility best practices, link the input elements and the label elements together using the for attribute. Use first name, last name, email, and new password as values for the respective ID attributes. I don't know what that really means. So for sure we're adding the for attribute into the labels for accessibility best practices. And that's for, I'm guessing, like screen readers type of accessibilities. So label for, I don't know what it'd be, first name, and then give this one for last name, and then I'm just giving it the same thing the IDs have, but again, this is just for accessibility best practices, which is good for every web developer needs to consider those with accessibility issues. For wait, new password, and then is it telling me to do the ID attributes as well within the label? So following linked input to label using the for, use first name, last name as values for the respective ID attributes. Maybe it's not asking me for an ID. Let me just check it. Okay. Alright, so it is asking for the, let me do this real quick. So do something like that. And then we're just going to do the same names for the IDs. First. So an ID would be, so we kind of like a class, we could select it. Last name. Sorry. All right, let's try it again. Whoa, the first input element. Oh, okay. X. And we're going into input. Okay, and then we're going into here, cutting it, pasting it in the input, then grabbing this ID, same thing, adding it into the input, and then grabbing this one and putting it in this one. Okay, that's making more sense now. So let's check it, and we do pass. Alright, let's go to the next one. Step 18. Specifying the type attribute of a form element is important for the browser to know what kind of data it should expect. If the type is not specified, the browser will default to text. Give the first two input elements a type attribute of text, the third a type attribute of email, and the fourth a type attribute of password. So let's give us some room here. And give the first two input elements, so that's these first two input elements, type attribute of text. So let's do that real quick. Type attribute text. Same thing for the second one. Type text. Okay, so the first two are now expecting text, which you get auto pop-ups. Okay, and then the third, a type attribute of email. So the third one will expect an email, the third input. So I'm going to do type email. My emails might come up. And what else? Oh. The fourth, a type attribute of password. So, type attribute of password. The email type only allows emails with an @ and a period in the domain. The password type obscures the input and warns if the site does not use HTTPS. That's beautiful. And so we're in the password and we're going to do the email type. Oh, I think it's just giving us extra knowledge. Right, let me see. Yeah, okay. So we pass. Step 19, the first input element with a type of submit is automatically set to submit its nearest parent form element. To handle the form submission after the last field set element. To handle the form submission after the last field set element, add an input element with the type attribute set to submit and the value attribute set to submit. So let's do that. We're adding an input with the type attribute where at? After the last field set. So that would be here is the last field set. So after that we are adding an input with attribute type being submit and value submit, and we'll cut it there, close it, and then let's check it. We pass. And step 20, at this point you should be able to submit the form. However, you may notice not much happens. To make the form more interactive, add the required attribute to the input element in the first field set. So the first input element in the first field set, add the required to the input in the first field set. So the first field set, we're adding to the inputs. So I gotta, hopefully I can still do this. Yeah. Okay. Input element is here. We're going to add a required. Cool. So I would think all these, right? Okay. Submit. We pass. So now all these will be required. If we try to submit it, it won't let us. Certain type attribute values come with built-in form validation. For example, type equals email requires that the value be a valid email address. Add custom validation to the password input element by adding a min length attribute with a value of 8. Doing so prevents inputs of less than 8 characters being submitted. So if we want to make sure our users are at least typing in 8 characters, we would add the min length attribute. So that is within where in the input down here, input will now have min length attribute assigned 8, right? Now there has to be at least 8 if this is submitted. Okay, and if this is only less than 8, we do see it tell us that it needs to be longer. Alright, so let's check it. Pass. Nope. Submit and go to the next one. So 22 says with type being assigned password, you can use the pattern attribute to define a regular expression that the password must match to be considered valid. Add a pattern attribute to the password input element to require their input match, and then this regular expression. The above is regular expression which matches 8 or more lowercase letters or the digit 0 to 5. Then remove the min length attribute and try it out. Okay. So add a pattern attribute to the password input. So password input is where? Zoom this out because it bugs me. Alright, so password is here. It's telling us to remove the min length. And we're going to use a regex. And the regex will match 8 or more lowercase letters or the digit 0 to 5. Okay, so add a pattern attribute. This one's a newer one for me. I'm not sure I knew this was available, and that sounds pretty cool. So we're able to give this a regular expression, which if you're not familiar, you can look it up, or I'm pretty sure plenty of videos on regular expressions, and it's kind of like what is utilized for like finding a word on a page. With regular expression, it's a little more powerful. You're able to give it like patterns to look for. Okay, so here we're giving it pattern with this regular expression that should target 8 or more lowercase letters or the digit 0 to 5. Let's check it. We pass. Continue. Step 23, let us go to the next part of the registration form. This section will ask for the type of account the user is opening and will confirm the user has read the terms and conditions. Start by adding 3 label elements to the second field set. So this is the second field set, I believe, because they usually put you where you need to be. And in that second field set, we will add 3 label elements. That's 2. Okay, 3. And we pass. 24 says users will be allowed to choose either a personal account or business account. To do this, within each of the first 2 label elements, add 1 input element with the type being equal to radio. So within each of the first 2, we're going to do an input, and that is self-closing I've been doing, so I assume input type radio, and then another input type radio, self-close, and that should be good. We do pass. We see our 2 radio buttons. Submit. For the terms and conditions, add an input with a type of checkbox to the 3rd label. So input type checkbox, I believe, and then self-close. We see our checkbox. Check. Something happened. Okay. Add an input, the type checkbox to the 3rd. Make this input element required. Okay. Check it. We pass. Now this is required to be checked. 26. Within each corresponding label element and immediately after the input element, add a space and add the following text. Let's copy this. Don't want to type that. Within each corresponding, I don't understand that. Each corresponding label. Immediately after the input. I think each one gets one of these lines. Okay, after the input element, add a space in the following text. Yeah. That's what it is. Copy, space. And same thing, business account. So input space paste, and then copy here, space paste. Cool, looking good. Should be what they want. Now we're looking legit. Step 27. You only want one radio input to be selectable at a time. However, the form does not know the radio inputs are related. To relate the radio inputs, give them the same name attribute with a value of account type. Now, it's not possible to select both radio inputs at the same time. Whoa, let's check that out. That sounds cool. Name, account type, and then the second one, name, account type. So now only one could be selected at a time. Yep, it's working. So let us check. We pass. So cool. Now those two radio buttons are related. Let's keep going. Step 28. Follow accessibility best practices by linking the input elements and the label elements in the second field set. Use a personal account, business account, and terms and conditions as values for the respective ID attributes. Okay, let me see. You link them using the for, right? For the input elements to the label. So I say for equals personal account. Okay, again, this is just for accessibility concerns or best practices. And we give our label that, and then this label, same thing, we'll say business account. And then same for equals the second field set. What is this one? Accept conditions. No, I don't think it really matters, but let's check it. The first input element should have an ID. Oh shoot, I put it in the wrong place. I think the label has to have the for, not the input. Yep, I did the other ones right. That one was wrong, and I do need to do the ID stuff. Yeah, because as values terms, so use personal account, business account as values for the respective ID attributes, and those are going to be for the input. So the input would have ID, personal account, and then this one, ID, then this one, I don't even know if I spelled it right. But okay, maybe, oh, it's terms and conditions. So that's probably what I should use also. On the for here. Check it. We pass. Cool. So now we've helped out those with accessibility concerns, and we've also linked or we've also given our inputs proper IDs. So submit and go to the next challenge. 29 to finish the field set. or to finish this field set off, link the text terms and conditions in the third label to the following location. Cool. Grab that. Copy it. So link the text terms and conditions in the third label here. Terms and conditions. So where are those words at? Here they are, the words terms and conditions. We're going to link to, so that'd be an A tag, terms and conditions, and then conditions after that closing A tag. And we're going to link, so an href, and we're going to paste in that address. Okay, now we do see that linking. Cool, let's submit it. We pass. Next, step 30. Moving on to the final field set. What if you wanted to allow a user to upload a profile picture? Well, the input type file allows just that. Add a label with the text upload a profile picture, and add an input accepting a file upload. So let's do that here within the field set. Input, well, the input type file allows you to do just that, a label with the text. So, okay, we're adding a label. With the text upload a profile picture. Oh, I'm moving ahead of myself. So add a label with the text upload a profile picture and add an input accepting a file upload. So where am I putting that input? Probably right after it. So space, and then in here doing an input type file and then close. Let me see. Add a label with the text upload and add an input accepting a file upload. I don't think I'm doing that right. You should give the input element type file. I gave the input element type file. Where's another input? You should give the input element a type of file. Let me see this. So move on to the final field set. What if you want to allow user to upload a picture? Well, the input type file allows just that. The input type file allows just that. Add a label with the text upload a profile picture. So there's the label, and add an input accepting a file upload. So I'm adding an input. I wonder if that's outside of it. Sure, let's just add it outside of it. Give it a type file and close it. Okay, that's looking better than the other one, so that might fix it. No. You should nest an input element inside the label element. Okay, that's what I did originally. So grab this. Grab that input and nest it inside here. So paste it. Okay. So I did something wrong originally. Maybe I didn't close it out right. But now that's looking good. Okay, let's check it. We pass. Step 31, add another label after the first with the text input your age, years. Then nest an input with the type of number. Okay, so I almost want to break it down, but let me just read them. Next, add a min attribute to the input with the value of 13 because users under the age of 13 should not register. Also, users probably will not be over the age of 120. Add a max attribute with a value of 120. Now, if someone tries to submit the form with values outside of the range, a warning will appear and the form will not submit. Give it a try. So, we're adding another label after the first. Here's the first label, so another one. Close it, and inside there, what are we doing next? Input your age in years, so input your age, I think it's years, then nest an input with the type of number, okay. Next, add a min attribute to the input, so inside here it's going to have min attribute equals what, 13. So max 120. So now if they try to put 12, won't let it. If it's 121, won't let it. Check it. Man. You should give the label the text. Let me just copy directly because they're yelling at how I typed it in, I guess. Or maybe because there's that space. Yep. Okay, 32. Adding a drop down to the form is easy with the select element. The select element is a container for a group of option elements, and the option element acts as a label for each drop down option. Both elements require closing tags. Start by adding a select element below the two label elements. Below the two, a select element. So I think that's just one, right? So select. All right, and there's 5 option elements in it. So are these self-closing? I don't know. Copy. Oh, I just gotta copy this, and then 3, 4. And let's see if that works. Man, I'm really just messing these up. 5 of them. 5. And we pass. 33. Nest the select element with its option elements within a label element with the text, "How did you hear about us?" The text should come before the select element. So nest the select element with its option elements. So this select element, I think they want me to do something with it within a label. So nest within a label. Okay. So label, and then that label, closing, and then this we should indent it so we know it's inside of that label. All right, and it should have the text. The text should come before the select element. So we'll do, "How did you hear about us?" Copy it, and since we want it before, we'll add it right here in the beginning. And I think let's try running it. You should give the label elements a text. "How did you hear about us?" That's what I did. And nest the select element with its option elements within a label. Oh, maybe I'm thinking this needs to go in here. Yeah. Yep. Sorry. Yeah, it didn't want to put it, that messed up this select here. But okay, run it. Step 34 is now telling us the drop down options are currently empty. To give them content, add the following text to each subsequent option element. So yeah, if we look at that drop down, wherever it is, I think it's this one, it's empty. So now we want to add options. The drop downs are okay. Each of these options. Oh, we're going to add text. So I think that goes here. I mean, I hope. I might be wrong. Oh, select one is an actual choice. So paste. Paste. What's that? 3, 4. And last other. Alright. So we have our choices now are showing up within our options. So that should fulfill this. We pass. Step 35, submitting the form with an option selected would not send a useful value to the server. As such, each option needs to be given a value attribute, without which the text content of the option will be submitted to the server. Give the first option a value of empty string and the subsequent option elements value attributes from 1 to 4. So let's do that. So the first option is here, and we're going to give it a value. I think that's the attribute. It's not using the word attribute, but I'm assuming. And the subsequent option element, give the first option blank string and the subsequent element value attributes from 1 to 4. So here we would do option 1, or not option value. I might be wrong. I don't know. I've never done this lesson, but this seems to be what I'm getting. Okay, I don't know. Let's try it. We pass. Cool. How strange. Okay, we'll continue. Step 36. The text area element acts like an input element of the type text, but comes with the added benefit of being able to receive multi-line text and an initial number of text rows and columns. Users will be able to register with a bio, add a label with the text, provide a bio at the end of the field set, add a text area element inside the label element. Note that the text area requires a closing tag. Okay, so add a label with the text at the end of the field set. So where's the end of that field set? Here, the end of it. At the end of the field set. I don't know if that means like here. I mean, it kind of looks like it because they added that. Or if they meant outside of it. Label. Provide a bio. So here, provide a bio. Add a text area element inside the label element. I mean, is it before or after the provide a bio at the end of the field set? Add a text area inside the label. Note the text area requires a closing tag. Yeah, probably after. I think that's what we've been doing in the other ones. So text area. Oh, so text area requires a closing tag. Okay, provide a bio. We can do that there. Let me see. Let's check it. We pass. Now we could type a nice amount of characters and provide a bio. Submit and go to the next one. Link the applicable form elements and their label elements together. Use profile picture, age, referrer, and bio as values for the respective ID attributes. Okay, so we're doing the same thing we did in those other examples, which is we're linking the label with their inputs, right? Yeah, so we're saying label for profile picture, label for age, for and is there other labels? For I wonder if I need that. Yeah, right. Label for equals bio. Okay, and then the ID. I'm guessing that goes in the text area, like ID bio. And then there's this label. The select would get an ID. I really hope I'm not doing this wrong. And then input here, ID, age, and then input here, ID, picture. Well, check it, and we passed. Whoa. Yeah, so it's just kind of linking. Your labels need this for, and again, it's for accessibility reasons. I'm sure it would work without it, but it is important to the for. It is important to have it to be able to link your information together. For those who can't visually see exactly what you're seeing. So we add the fors to link everything, and then we also add ID attributes to for the respective ID attributes. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Step 38. The text area appears too small. To give it an initial size, you can add the rows and column attributes. Add an initial size of 3 rows and 30 columns. Okay, so the text area appears too small. To give it an initial size, add a rows and columns attribute. So here's text area. We could do rows 3, and columns 30. Okay, I think that's no rows attribute. We're in the text area. It has a value of 3. Maybe it wants the number 3. Oh snaps! I think it's because I did it on the closing tag. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to add these in the closing here. Alright, now we can see that. And we pass. Step 39. To give campers an idea of what to put in their bio, the placeholder attribute is used. Copy placeholder. It accepts a text value, which is displayed until the user starts typing. Give the text area a placeholder of I like coding on the beach. So just kind of like some placeholder text. And you do that using what again? Placeholder. Placeholder, and then I'll copy that sentence because I'll probably get it wrong if I try to do it. Probably still gonna get it wrong, but boom. Hopefully we selected that and we paste it in our placeholder value, and we should see it here, which we do till we start typing. Cool, submit it. Congratulations. Continue. Step 40. Give each submittable element a unique name attribute of your choosing except for the 2 radio inputs. Except the 2 radios. Okay, so let me unconfound myself. Dang. Still. Okay. The attribute to use to identify elements in form submission. Give each submittable element. What's a submittable element? Except for the radio button. Where's even the radio buttons? Okay, I see the 2 radio buttons. Yeah, this one's gonna kill me right here. Give each submittable element a unique name attribute of your choosing except for the 2 radio buttons. I don't know, what is the submittable? The input? So it's like, how many inputs do I have? Let me look. I'm trying to search the page. It won't even let me. Okay, so I have a few inputs. Oh, I don't even think it's working right. Let me... So we're going to give them name attributes. It looks like they have the name attributes. So we're talking... Give each submittal a unique name attribute except for the 2 radio buttons. The 2 radio are here. So... Where else is there some inputs? Okay, I see an input here. I gotta look for... Okay, so there's more down here. So these are the radio, right? Those are the radio. These have names. This is an input and it doesn't have a name. So let me zoom out a bit. Sorry. Where's that first radio? Here. Okay, so I'm gonna look for that input word again. And we got some here. Which ones don't have a name? So there's that one, and it doesn't have a name. So we'll say name. I forgot these are the ones that we're doing right now. But yeah, it makes sense. We're giving them a name. We could use the same name as our profile picture, really. Input. And then name. Age. Where else is there an input? I think that's it. There's one down here. The submit. Okay, that should be good. You should give the text area element. Oh yeah, where's that at? Text area name bio. Text. Alright. Man, so this one was a pretty daunting one, especially knowing I'm doing this live, but it just kind of makes sense now that I overstressed about it. But we just want to make sure that each piece of data we're collecting to have the name attribute targeting those elements so that we know and we're able to identify them in the form submission. And by doing that again, we just gave those submittable elements the name attribute with a name that makes sense, so that we're able to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's that piece of information, that's that piece of information. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Step 41, the HTML for the registration form is finished. Now you can spruce it up a bit. Start by changing the font to Tahoma and the font size to 16 pixels in the body. So in the body, we're going to select font. Isn't it like font family or something? Font family. Might be wrong, but Tahoma. Yep, it changed it. And then font size. I don't know if that's literally font size. Probably 16 pixels. I don't know if it did anything. Let's check it. We do pass. Next one. 42 says center the H1 and P element by giving them a margin of 1em auto, then align their text in the center as well. So we know that we can select two elements at once by doing H1, comma, P. Now we have selected both those elements and will apply margin 1em auto and then align their text. So I don't know what that is. Text align? Epsilon? Center. And we have centered. Let us check. We have passed. Continue. Step 43. Center the form element by giving it a margin of 0 auto. Then fix its size. Let me see. Then fix its size to a maximum width of 500 pixels and a minimum width of 300 pixels. So here we're going to select form. And to the form, margin 0 auto, fix its size to a maximum width of 500, so I'm guessing that's maximum width 500 pixels. I don't know if I did that right, but we'll continue. I don't even know if I spelled that right. Maximum, I don't know, let's go with it. Minimum. I don't know if these are the real property names. I wish they would explain them exactly. Between the range. In between that range, allowed to have width. Of 60 view widths. Alright. I mean, it did something, so I must be right. Check it. No. Form max width. Okay. And min width. And we check it, and we do pass. Next, step 44. During development, it is useful to see the field set default borders. However, to make the content appear too separated, remove the border and add 2em of padding only to the top and bottom of each field set. Be sure to remove the padding from the left and right. Don't know what that means, but they took us outside of the form element, so, the field set. So we want to select field set, and we're going to remove the borders. I don't know how to do that. Order none? A lot of this, like, I think it's just from doing these so much, I kind of just guess them right sometimes. But remember, if we're stuck absolutely, I got to open up another tab and just Google and the question. And I mean, that's the main thing you'll be doing when you're working with HTML, CSS, Java, when you're working programming, web development, anything like this, especially because there's just so much. You know, you going into this, you got to just be aware that you have to Google a lot and ask a lot of questions, ask them in like as many various ways as possible, and that will maximize your potential to find the right answer. Remove the border. We removed it. Add 2 rem of padding. So padding to top and bottom. So that's going to be the first value, 2 rem, and then be sure to remove the padding from the left and right. So 0, I'm guessing. And now we check it. We pass. Continue. 45, to give the field set elements a bit of separation, select them and give them a border bottom of 3 pixels solid. And okay, so alright, let's run it. We passed. 46. The border of the last field set element looks a little out of place. You can select the last element of a specific type using the last of type CSS pseudo class like this. P colon last of type, and then we do our stuff. That will select the last P element, create a new selector that targets the last field set element, and set its border bottom to none. So P element, and is it the last? Yep, last type, and create targets the last field set that will select the last P element. Okay, I don't want to do the P, I want to do the field set. And then we're doing border bottom none. I don't know if I did that right. Let's see. What? I guess I did. Cool. I targeted the last field set and did border bottom none. Okay, it would be nicer to have the label text appear above the form elements. Select all input, text area, and select. So input, text area, select. And what are we doing? Make them take up the full width of their parent element. I don't know what that means. Like width 100%. Oh, I didn't do the rest. Also add 10. Probably wrong for that one, but I just wanted to see what they're going to say. But we're doing this. You should set the margin top. And now run. Okay, margin bottom. So let me see real quick. Sorry. Alright. So select all input text, select, and make them take up the full width of their parent elements. Also at 10. Oh, my bad. So we want to just do 10. We're doing margin, and then margin is going to be add 10 pixels to the top and bottom. Set the other margins to 0. So we did that, and we could check it. Margin bottom. So I thought top and bottom to the top. Okay, add 10 pixels of margin to the top of the selected elements. So margin top is 10. Gotta do them separate, I guess. Set the other margins to 0. So margin bottom 0 pixels, and then margin left 0 pixels, and margin right 0 pixels. I think that's what they wanted, and it is. Let's continue. So now 48. For the second field set, you want the input and label text to appear on the same line. Start by giving the input elements in the second field set a class of inline. So for the second field set, where's that second field set? It's going to be right here because they already selected it for us. We want our input and label text to appear on the same line. So input and a label text to appear on the same line. I'm not sure what that's meaning. Start by giving the input element in the second field set a class of inline. So we're going to go into our inputs and give them a class second field set class. Okay, so we're doing class inline, and we're doing that to all these right here. Class is inline, and then again, we're giving it another. Where's the other ones? Let's make this easier to read. But we're gonna go into the other inputs right here and give it a class of inline. And is that all of them? Is it just 3? I believe so. Let's run that. We pass it. Now they all have that class. Select only the inline elements. So we're going to select using CSS. We're going to select all those that we just gave the inline class. And we're doing with unset. This will remove the earlier rule, which set all the input elements to the width of 100. So these that have the inline class won't have that with 100. Let me see. We do pass that. We could continue. Step 50 says add some space between the dot inline element and the label text by giving a right margin of 0.5 em. Also set all the other margins to 0. So add some space between inline elements and the label text by giving them a margin. So margin of 0, 0.5 em. And the label text. Where's the label text? They didn't highlight it here, so let me just check it. So you should give the inline element a margin top of 0. Oh, I didn't see that. Set all the other margins to 0. So by giving a right margin, so let me do right margin. Oh, sorry. Right margin 0.5, and then all the other ones to 0. So, and that's margin right, I believe. Margin right. I hope so. Margin left 0. Margin top 0. I think it's pixels. I don't know if it matters, but I'll just do 0 for now. I feel like I want to see if it matters or not. Margin bottom. Check it. We do pass. So that's weird. Because it says add some space between the inline elements and the labeled text by giving a right margin of 0.5. Also set all other margins to 0. It's like you're not sure what. Well, we're only sure because they always put us inside the place where we need to do something. But here I didn't know if they meant add these styles to inline or to label or to both. But again, since it is showing right here inline, okay, they want us to do this to the inline class. So that's what I should have realized. Step 51 says if you look close enough, you'll notice the inline elements are too high on the line. To combat this, set the vertical align property to middle. So here's our inline class. Under the margin we just did, we're going to do vertical align, and we're setting it to middle, and we saw that nicely shift. Check it. We pass. 52. To make the input and text area elements blend in with the background theme, set their background color to this crazy hex number. Let's copy that. Then give them a 1 pixel solid border with a color of that. So to make the input, set their background color. So input and text area. We're going to select you and we're going to give you background color to that thing I just highlighted. Now border, 1 pixel, solid, and then is it the same color? Looks like it. It is the same. Well, anyways, run it. We pass. 53. Currently, if you type in the input or text area element, you will not be able to see the text. Also, their height is too small to be easy to use. Fix this by setting the color to, it's probably like black. And setting their min height to 2M. So under here, color, min height 2M. Nice. Run that. Passed. 54. You want the select element to remain with a white background, but now it's not getting the same min height as the input and text area elements. Move the min height property in the value so that all 3 element types have the same min height value and the select element still has a white background. That'll make sense. So move the min height property. Where's min height? Min height. It's talking about the input text area. See, like here they include all this to try to confuse us. But that's cool. We want to select. You want the select element to remain with white, but now it's not getting the same min height. Move the min height property and value so that all 3 element types have the same. So where are all 3? Inline? I think inline. And the select element still has a white background. I'm gonna probably need some help on this. Nope. Oh yeah, so there is a selector already. I didn't see it. Okay, so we could take this, and there is one, I guess, that's selecting all 3, or it wants me to, okay. I know we select like 3 things in the inline one, but I didn't remember. So they just want us to create a selector that will select all 3 and have that change done. Input, text area, select, in here, min height. So try it. You should move the min height property and value, min height property, to input text area select. Input text area select. Min height. That's a. What did I do here? Ah, look, it already exists. I don't know. I looked past it a couple times. Nobody commented. Y'all let me look like a fool. All right. So I want that. I want to delete this. Since we already got it here, and we go here, paste it, make it look good. Cool. This should do it. We pass. Step 55, to style the submit button, you can use an attribute selector which selects an element based on the given attribute value. Here's an example. So we have our input and then name equals password, and we'll be able to style the submit button using the attribute selector. The above selects input element with a name attribute value of password. Now use the attribute selector to style the submit button with a display of block and a width of 60%. Okay, so you're telling me it's going to be something like, I really don't know here. is it going to be input name equals submit? And then so we select it and then we just do our CSS. Is that what you're telling me? Wrong. Input type equals submit. That's exactly what I did. You should use an attribute selector of input. Oh, instead of not name. So we could grab an input that's of type submit. And I think that's right because I don't think I gave it a name because it's a submit button. It doesn't need one. Let me see. Just to verify I'm not tripping out. So the submit's all the way at the bottom. And yep, it's just type submit. There's no name associated with it. So to grab it, we could select it with CSS, doing input, and then the attribute type submit. Cool, that makes sense. Check it, pass. 56, with a display of block, the submit fits flush against the left edge of its parent. Use the same technique used to center the form to center the submit button. I don't even remember the technique we used. Oh yeah, display? Display block? I don't think so, but let me check it. Margin 0 auto, okay. Margin 0 auto. That should center it, and it does. Great, let's check it. We pass, submit, go to the next challenge. To make the submit button look more in line with the rest of the form, give the same height as the other fields, which is 2M. Also increase the font size to 1.1 rem. So we're doing our input height. We're selecting our input, giving it a height of 2M and font size 1.1 rem. And we're running it. We're passing 58. To make the submit button appear more distinct, give it a background color of this. So let's do background color. It's 3B, 3B, 4F. Border color white. Check it. What? Border color white. You should get the submit button a background color. Oh, spelled that wrong. Background. Check it. Pass. 59. Lastly, for the submit button, you want to separate it from the field set above and adjust its width to never be below 300 pixels. Change the margin property to include 1M on the top and bottom. So margin 1M, that would be for the top and bottom, while leaving the right and margin set to auto. Then set the width as described above. So what is it, max? Below. So what, min width 300 pixels. Let's save, and we did pass. Step 60. Most browsers inject their own default CSS properties and values for different elements. If you look closely, you might be able to notice the file input is smaller than the other text input elements by default. By default, a padding of 1 pixel, 2 pixels given to the input elements you can type in. Using another attribute selector, style the input. So we're doing input with type equals file, and we're selecting that and doing padding. As the other input elements, I'm not sure what they are. Is it 1, 2 pixels or 1 pixel, 2 pixels? I'll tell us if we're wrong. It is. Oh, comma, pixel, oh, colon, boom. Oh no, I don't want to restart. Check it. Yes. Passed. 61. Speaking of padding, the submit button sitting at the bottom of the form element, add 2M of padding only to the bottom of the form. So padding bottom of form, and we're doing 2M, and that's it. Check it. Passed it. 62. Last but not least, change the text color of the terms and conditions link. Okay, so we do that by targeting links. A link, color, hex DFDFE2. Alright, and that is it. Pass. And we do pass that. Is this a... Okay, this looks like a survey. Build an app. Is this... Are we still in the same... I don't want to go... Yeah, this is something else. This says build a survey form. Objective, build an app that is functionally similar to survey form user stores. Okay, so yeah, we're going to end with that in mind. I will be doing this next part soon. If you enjoy this, make sure to subscribe to get notified whenever I am live or creating new content. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one, which might be today, and if not, for sure tomorrow at some time, probably in the afternoon. But thank you for joining, all those who participated. That's awesome. Make sure to keep practicing all the things that you've learned, and I'll see you in the next one.